YouTube, what's up? What's up? Put a one in the chat if you hear me good. Good morning, everybody. Dustin, good morning, bro. Dirty Dirt, good morning. Yeshua Akbar, glory to the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, now and forever, into the ages of ages. Danny, good morning. Good morning. Enigma, shalom. Christ Topics, good morning. Best morning live on TikTok and YouTube. All right, thank you guys for the ones in the chat. Appreciate it. Mr. Yerbeto, good morning. You'd be surprised to see the Arabic Bible has Allah in it. Whoa. Yeah, that's crazy. All right, guess number one, guys. What's up?
Yo.
Hey, what's up?
I can't hear you. You said what?
What's up, bro?
Shit.
Why'd you request?
Yo. You said Jesus is not Allah. Christianity and Trinity. Logical. Islam equals red flag. Ooh, you finna cause some division.
Division amongst who?
Everybody gonna be like, damn. He don't like Islam. You don't like Islam?
No, I think it's a false religion.
I mean, you don't have to like it.
I
mean, you ain't really doing nothing that's gonna like harm anybody.
Okay.
So it's like you, but
what faith are you?
Faith, I just believe in God, the Most High.
Who's the Most High to you?
God. I don't know what's nothing more, nothing less.
How do you know this God that you worship?
How do I know that's God? Do I worship?
How do you know which God, like your God? How do you know who he is? How do you know him?
I don't know if I know him. I just have faith that I know him.
How do you get to know him? How do you know about this God? How do you know how you were created? Do you read a book about him or anything?
Nah, it's been taught. Went to church.
Went to church, okay. So you believe the God of the Bible?
Yeah, you can say that, yeah.
Okay, bro. All right. Do you disagree with anything on the screen or no?
I don't know. I don't think so.
All right, bro. Take it easy, man. What's up?
What's that? I have a question.
What's your faith?
Muslim.
Okay. What's your question?
Do you guys believe like the Holy Mary commit adultery?
Do you believe the prophet committed pedophilia?
No, but I think in Christianity there's a verse like accuse Mary for committing adultery.
Okay. Good day. What's up?
Why do you keep putting down? He asked you a direct question. I mean, did you guys accuse Mary of committing adultery?
No.
So why didn't you answer him? Why did you drop him?
Because he's trolling.
Oh. Well, anyway, let's get back to the Christianity and Trinity are logical. Who died on the cross?
The Son.
His son. Was the God with him when he died?
What do you mean by the God?
Well, the Father.
Was he with him?
Yeah.
He's never separate of the Father.
He's never separate, so he died with him, right?
No, he didn't experience death.
You said he was with him, right? They're not separated. They're one thing. So if one part died, you mean, and the other half didn't die?
We don't believe that God is made of parts.
Okay, so can you explain it?
Yeah, I mean, the Son is the one that incarnated. The Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit are distinct. They're not each other. So the person of the Son is the one that incarnated and then experienced death, not the Father. It's really simple.
But they were together, though, right?
Okay, so
Okay, when he died and he was buried in the grave, was the Father with him?
yeah, the Father is never away from the Son, but the Son is the
Okay,
one
so
that
he was
the
in the
Son,
grave.
but the Son is the one that experienced the
Death,
incarnation.
right?
The
Yeah,
one is
yeah,
he
I
is the one
got
that
that.
experienced death. I don't know how being
So in the
together.
grave,
I don't know how being
was the Father
together.
with him?
I don't know how being together with the Son, inseparable of the Son, means that the Father also experienced that. You need to kind of like hash that out a little bit more for me to answer your question.
Okay, was the Father with him in the grave?
The Father is never separate of the Son.
So he was buried too, the Father.
Doesn't mean he was buried. The Son is the only one that incarnates. You understand
I'm
that
talking
you
about the
understand the
burial
Father.
now.
The Father is not a physical being that is in a location. He's omnipresent.
I challenge you to give me one verse in the Bible that you believe in that Jesus said, I am God. Straight out.
Okay.
Don't tell me he said, this. I don't want no signs. I want a straight thing that Jesus said, I am the God. I am your God and worship me.
Why does it need to say verbatim what you're saying?
Of course, he's the God, man. What do you mean he doesn't have to? Why would he send
Does it?
us
Well, let me
his
ask you
son?
this. Let me ask you this. If there isn't if there isn't a verse that says what you say verbatim, does that make it false?
I'm sorry, say it again.
If there is not a verse that has Jesus saying those things verbatim, does it make it false?
Absolutely.
Okay. So then, according to your belief, do you believe
Forget about my belief. We're
according
discussing
to
yours right now.
according to your belief, I just want to see if you're going to be consistent and honest, or if you're just going to be disingenuous. So, according to your belief, Jesus is the Messiah, correct?
To my belief, yes.
All right. And to deny Jesus the Messiah would be going against Islamic belief. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, would you be able to do the same and show me a verse in the Quran where Jesus says, "I am the Messiah"?
Yes, he is. I mean, he spoke when he was
I
a
just want to
baby.
know. Okay, well, show me the verse, and then I'll concede to your point about
So
me
we don't
not
believe
showing.
that. We don't believe the
I will
Messiah is
concede.
God.
Hold on a second.
We're
Hold on.
talking about the major
I'm not
issue
talking
here.
about Messiah being God. I'm just saying. I just want to see if you're going to be actually genuine with your standard that you're applying to me. So, can you show me in the Quran where Jesus says out of his mouth, "I am the Messiah, come follow me"?
Yeah. Do you understand Arabic?
If you do show me that, I can see a translation.
Okay.
If you do show me that, then I'll concede to your point.
All right. It is. It's in the Quran. Of course, it
Show
says
me the verse,
Jesus is the
please.
Messiah.
No. I want to see where Jesus says himself that he is I am the Messiah, come follow me.
Jesus did not speak to the world, to the Muslim world, through the Quran. Prophet Muhammad did.
He is quoted in the Quran. So go ahead and show
He is
me.
quoted, but through Prophet Muhammad. Muhammad was the one who was speaking.
Wait. Are you saying that this verse does not exist?
Of course it does.
Okay, well then show me the verse
I'm
where
not saying
then
Jesus
show me the
himself
verse. Then show me the
spoke
verse.
and said,
Oh,
I
no.
am the Messiah.
What I'm asking is for
Prophet
that.
Muhammad said that Jesus is the
Hey,
Messiah
sir,
from the word of God.
I'm not asking for someone else saying it, because that's not the standard that you applied to me. I'm asking.
Jesus was not sent to the Muslims to speak to us.
Hey, bro, you got to let me finish asking my question. I'm asking specifically, like you asked me specifically. Where is the verse where Jesus says, "I am the Messiah, follow me"? Show me that, please.
Like I said, it doesn't.
Oh, so then
It's not supposed to.
Then according to your standard, like you put on to me, then that means it's false, right?
No, but Jesus came to you as God.
Brother, do you understand
It's
the
different
standard?
to us. Jesus did not come to us
See,
as God.
now you're being disingenuous. So remember, I asked you specifically, if I say there is not a verse that says that verbatim of what you asked of me, of what you wanted Jesus to say, does that mean it's false?
You're trying to twist
said,
the truth, brother.
You said yes. No, you're the one that's being disingenuous right now. Hey, brother, listen. I'm gonna backtrack so you see the inconsistency coming from your end, and maybe you can clarify. I asked you specifically if there is not a verse that's saying the things that you are requesting verbatim, does that make it false? You said yes. But I put the standard onto you, and according to that standard, that would mean that the Messiah, Jesus being the Messiah, is false, according to your standard.
Man, more than 110 people in your life, they're laughing at you, bro.
Oh, I'm so embarrassed.
I'm telling you, you should be.
Can you track on what I just said?
You should be embarrassed, man. You just embarrassed the hell out of yourself.
Yeah. Gaslighting.
Jesus was not my God.
Gaslighting is not gonna work here, bro.
Well, if he's God, he would have.
You're muted, bro. You're yapping and you're muted, just to let you know. And people are correcting and they're saying they're laughing at you.
Matter of fact, Jesus said that I am not your God.
Can you adjust?
I am
You know, the audience is saying that they're actually laughing at you. How do you feel about that?
Those are the ones that you're in love with. So that's fine.
That I'm in love
Because they're
with.
clapping for something they don't even believe themselves.
Well, you were
I
the
bet you
one.
can't
You were
even
the one that
explain
was
that
so
to
worried
yourself.
about who's laughing at who. Now it doesn't matter that they're laughing at you.
They're laughing. I said your people are laughing at you. Your own people are laughing at you.
You're the one that told me that I should be embarrassed.
Yeah, you should.
Okay, why? Why aren't you embarrassed if they're the ones laughing
Because
at you?
I am telling the logical issue. You're not saying that. I asked you a question. Did Jesus say I am God? And you have no answer.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what.
But the
Ask
funny
me,
thing
did
is, you
Jesus
just
say
got.
I am a prophet? And I'll tell you, yes, he did say it.
Did he say he's the Messiah?
More than 85 times.
Did he say
He
he's the
said,
Messiah?
I am a prophet.
Did he
I am
say
not
he's
God.
the Messiah?
No, he did not say that.
So then it's false, according to your standard. So then it's false. According to your own standard, you would need to reject that Jesus is the Messiah because he doesn't say it out of his mouth.
I cannot reject Jesus as the Messiah because I have been told by God, by his creator, that he is the Messiah.
How do you know the Quran's from God? How do you know that those are the words of God?
Oh, okay. I could tell you that because this is how you find out if there's something through somebody who's creator. If you were in the middle of a desert and you see a nice, beautiful house, automatically you're going to think there's someone who built this house. This house did not just come out of nothing.
What does that have to do with the Quran?
I'm just telling you, the Quran through God has told us so many things in the future that it's going to happen, and it's happening as of now.
Why does that automatically mean it's from God?
Anybody can tell you something that it's abnormal for us to understand. It was done by somebody who's much higher than me and you, which is to our belief. We believe that's a higher power, and this higher power we call God.
You're still not answering my question. How do you know?
You don't want to understand. That's what it is.
Why does that mean? Any of these things that you're saying that it's automatically from God?
Because whatever it is beyond our imagination.
Why? Why would
beyond
it need to be?
our?
Let me ask you this: Why couldn't Satan? Why couldn't Satan give the Quran?
I'm sorry.
Why couldn't Satan give the Quran?
I don't understand. What do you mean?
Why couldn't it have been Satan the one that delivered the Quran?
Oh, because Satan doesn't have the same powers as God.
How do you know that?
Oh, I know because God has told us that in the Bible.
Where? Exactly.
In the Quran.
How do you know
in
that's
the
not?
Bible,
How do you know that's
in the Torah?
How do you know that that's not Satan just saying that in the Quran to deceive you?
Okay, there is something it's called in Islam aqidah. Do you know what that means?
Yes, and I don't care right now. I want to know how
you really have to know what aqidah means.
I know exactly what aqidah is.
What can you tell me what aqidah is?
It's just a school of thought of either taking something literal or anthropomorphic.
No, sir. This is wrong. You don't know nothing about Arabic language, and you're just sitting there reading translations.
You know what? I don't give a damn. Can you answer my question?
I know you don't give a damn.
Can you answer my question? Hey, you got a last chance.
Man. When you want to sit there and preach people, you should have the people.
Gaslight. We're just gonna gaslight our way out of here. Get the hell out of here, dude. Hello, my love.
Hello.
All right, guys, I got a YouTube guest. I'm gonna bring him on and see if you can hear him. TikTok, let me know if you can hear him. Hussein, you're on, bro. What faith are you? Going once, YouTube guest. Hussein, you're on. Going once. Going twice. All right. he's gone. Let's get the TikTok guest going. What's up? Oh, hold on. They're loading up. Not this guy. I don't know who this guy is. Is he annoying? Yeah, he's loading. He's not talking right now, guys. I don't know if he's going to connect. Thank you, Chunky, for the money gun. As always, appreciate you. Shout out to Chunky. Shout out to Chunky for the money gun. Hold the echo. Yeah, I know. All right. Hussein. Yeah, it does sound like a Walmart announcement. That's the whole point. Thank you, LA Apologetics, for the link. Appreciate putting the link in there if you want to help support Peace and I on our mission and what we're trying to do together. There is a GoFundMe if you guys want to feel led to donate. I really appreciate that. And putting the link on there, LA Apologetics. Hussein, I don't know. Let me boot this guy out because who knows what he's doing. See you later, gang. We do. If you are on YouTube and you disagree and you want to request up, you can request up. Just keep in mind I am bringing TikTok guests, so I'm going one at a time. I'm not bringing everybody up at once. So, did the last? Are you talking about the last one that you did? Yeah, the last one, the one that you did yesterday, did pretty good on YouTube. Did better on YouTube than TikTok. The other one, the first one, did better on TikTok than YouTube. But yeah, on YouTube, I think it's like at 2.5 thousand, which is pretty good after one day for YouTube Shorts. So, anyways, guys, tap the screen. Our like goals are terrible right now. Terrible. Let's get to 5,000 likes quick, and then we'll move on to 10. Actually, let's bump it up to 10 right now. 10,000 likes. 10,000 likes. What's up, Prost? Hope you're doing good. Chunky, customer needs help and oh, shoot. That's how we're doing our announcements now. We'll do it through the speaker, through the megaphone. Hope everybody's having a good week. October 1st, first day of the month. Big month, big month. Guys, can you believe it? We're going to be in Christmas very soon. Thanksgiving's coming up. Halloween, Thanksgiving, then Christmas. Loving it. Hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Gabriel, for the super chat, or I should say for the daily jizya. New setup sounds great. Excited to see you grow. Thank you so much, Gabriel, for the jizya. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah, no problem, Dylan. Go ahead, gang. Do what you gotta do, gang. I'm out. Yawn. Okay, bro. See you later, man. Hey guys, we messed up. Regular civilian is out of here. He's leaving. He's leaving the chat, guys. I don't know what you guys did to cause regular civilian to leave, or maybe it was just me, but please, guys, like, start behaving. Please start doing something to make sure these people stay here like regular civilian. Okay, we're really worried about regular civilian right now. Bear got the service announcement from the schools on the live. Yeah, that's how we're doing the announcements. Yeah, that's how we're doing announcements now. Mm-mm-mm. Is it okay for the kids to go trick or treating? Yeah, I don't see an issue. We're gonna be doing trick or treating this year with the kiddos. Um, yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing trick or treating. Now, granted, guys, like that doesn't mean like it's okay to dress up your kid as like Satan himself or like something demonic. I mean, that's true for any situation, right? But yeah, there's nothing wrong with like your kid wants to dress up as like Spider-Man or something like that. Like, what's wrong with that? Wants to go get candy, go get candy. You know, where in the Bible does it say worship me? Barak Financial, come on up, bro. Let's discuss that. We can talk about that, gang. We can talk about that. All right. Next guest is coming up. Where's Halloween in the Bible?
Dude, I just want to know how there are
That's funny, yo.
97 people on live at 7:51 a.m., bro. Who is up this early?
You understand that not everyone is in the same time zone, right?
I mean, I'm assuming you're in America, so even if it's like 1 hour forward, 1 hour back, it's still early as hell to be arguing on TikTok.
We do it every morning, but you understand not everyone's in the same time zone, right?
Yeah, but it's like 2 hours difference forward or back. So I'm in Texas. I'm imagining if people are in California, New York, like it would either be 9:51 or 6:51. It's still early. I'm just saying, it's still early. Oh, it's 8:51. It's 7:51. Yeah.
Okay, bro.
I don't know. I'm just
what
wondering
faith,
if
what
they're
faith are
like,
you, man?
I'm Muslim.
Okay. What's your question?
You know, when it comes to Trinity specifically, like I think that seems a little bit more difficult to grasp than the simplicity of the Quran talking about just one God and no spirit and human flesh and divine nature and all that stuff. I think it's
You
more
understand
simple.
you understand that more simple doesn't mean it's more true, right?
Well, I mean, I'm sure anyone can make something sound logical if they have, as a Muslim, I call them like excuses, to explain the reasonability of the Trinity. But it's like it's hard to understand those reasons that you guys use. Like when I always see debates between Muslims and Christians, and when Muslims always ask, okay, was like Jesus God and divine when he was down on earth, or was he always divine? And how can he not have his powers and all-knowing knowledge when he's on earth, but also use his powers at his desire? Like it seems contradictory from like not using religion just from like a logical perspective. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. So you understand that whether something is confusing or not doesn't make it true or not. And you understand that whether something is logical doesn't automatically make it true or false either. Now, if something is illogical, then it can't be true. So I don't know what your position is exactly. Is it because are you saying that the Trinity is logical, it's just hard for you to understand? Or are you making the claim that it is illogical? Those are two different things.
So like when the definition of God like being all powerful, all knowing, and when I see how the Bible talks about Jesus, it would show attributes that don't correlate with my definition of God. So whenever I see something that contradicts my definition, that makes it sound illogical. So
Okay,
like
so
the
you're
whole
making so
concept
you're
of
making the claim that the Trinity is illogical.
yes.
Okay, so what's your argument for that? What are the reasons why it's
So
illogical?
without even like having a deep like scholarship in Bible or in any theology for that matter, just the idea of God being able to be unalive by his own creation sounds illogical, because to me,
Yeah, maybe it sounds illogical, but bro, I'm not respectfully. I'm not here to say, well, this feels like it's illogical. No, I don't. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in like why. Why is it illogical?
okay, and to me, the definition of like God is being, you know, undiable. I don't want to use the word, unalive,
What's
but
the definition of death?
I guess when you cease to exist, and
Negative. That's an atheist definition of death. As a theist, as you are and I am, our definition of death would be the same, which is separation of soul and body. Would you agree?
okay, yeah, that sounds pretty similar. Yeah, sounds like a good
It's
answer.
not. It's
Yeah,
not something Christians and Muslims disagree with. Okay, so is God all powerful?
I would say so. Yeah.
Is he powerful enough to take on a human nature if he chose to?
So that's where the Muslim in me would say he is not
I'm
like
not
his
asking.
creation.
I'm not asking for your belief. I'm just speaking just generally here. Does he have the? I'm not saying do you believe he did. I'm asking is he capable of doing it if he chose to?
I would say he's not.
Okay, so
He's
then
not.
he is not all powerful then, so because he's not capable of doing something, right?
Well, to me, it would sound like it would no longer be God if he turns into one of his creations.
Okay, explain why that would be the case.
So it's like again, I'm going to use an example that's separate from religion, like when it comes to like a definition. So this definition of a square, right, is something with four sides. Now, if God is all powerful, can he make a square a triangle with three sides? Well, a square wouldn't be a triangle, but yes, God is all powerful, but if he makes something that is this, then it's no longer that. And that's like a very crude way of explaining it. So when God goes into his, or can, I guess, demote himself and make himself a quote unquote creation, then he loses that attribute that would make him quote unquote God.
So one of the questions that atheists bring to theists is can God create a rock that is too big for him or too heavy for him to lift, right? And that would be a contradiction because God obviously that would be a contradiction to God, therefore that can't happen. Okay? So I would agree with you that as far as God doing something that is contradictory,
Yeah.
that would be something that he would be incapable of doing. The definition of being all powerful is doing things that are logically possible. But here's your misunderstanding. You think that because we say that God incarnated, that means his divine nature transformed from being divine and being God to a human nature. And that's not what we believe. We believe that the divine nature never changed, but he took on a second nature, which was a human nature, which is how he incarnated. So you're right off the bat, what you described as being contradictory or illogical, I would agree with you on that. That wouldn't be possible. But that's not what Christians believe. And I think in order to critique Christians, you need to have an understanding of what we believe first before you can actually critique it.
I mean, another point that doesn't sit right with me is when people or Christians say that God humbles himself and comes down to a human form to teach us quote unquote lessons.
I don't want to move from the first topic. What's illogical about God taking on a second nature, a human nature, and incarnating? I don't want to move from there because you brought an argument that I actually agree with, but that's not what Christians believe.
I think it's contradictory. My viewpoint. I mean, you told me earlier you didn't agree with it, that it's contradictory for God to take on a form like his creation.
Not in the proper understanding of Christianity. It's not contradictory. What you described, it is contradictory, and I agree that can't happen. But that's not what Christians believe.
So then why would the example of, okay, how is God cannot create a rock that he cannot lift? Like, how, I understand that's a contradictory, but how is that not the same as God taking on another quote unquote form? And when you say form, I would specify like a lesser form. That's what it essentially is. Like, I can't imagine God being quote less in a lesser form.
Yeah, it's not contradictory because it's a second nature.
But using the word second nature is kind of like sugarcoating that second nature is a lesser form.
It's not sugarcoating it. It literally means like we take that from the scriptures itself.
Okay, so then let me say it like this. instead of, so if the concept of God taking on another form, what if I were to say, can God take on the form and nature of, let's say, a pig? Maybe it sounds like a little bit more, negative. So it's like, technically, well, God's all powerful. If he wants to become a pig, can he become a pig? That's why I say it wouldn't matter if he wants to become something as lowly as a pig or something a little bit better than a pig, which is a human. I still look at anything that is not God as beneath that. So he would not allow himself to become a second nature that's not the highest nature, which is strictly just God.
Here's the issue. We believe when we say God is all powerful, that means he can do anything that is logically possible. So this is why I was saying I agree with you as far as like doing things that God is incapable of doing things that are illogical or contradictory, because that would go against his nature, and therefore God cannot do it. That doesn't make God limited. That just means contradictions are not, they would violate his nature, right? But as far as taking on incarnating as a pig is not made in the image of God. It's not rational. It's not a rational being. God is a rational being. The reason why he can incarnate as a human is because we were made in his image, and we are a rational being. Therefore, it is logical for him to incarnate into something that he made in his own image.
So when you use the word, it's in his nature, and I'm coming from the belief that there's nothing like God. So the nature of God is just God. There is no different variations. There can't be many variations of, or there's not many natures of God. I could say there's attributes of God, but when it comes to natures, I would disagree. And that's just, I guess, from my Muslim viewpoint. That's why I'm saying,
I don't know. I'm not understanding your point on this part. What do you
so
mean?
like when I the reason why I use the example of an animal, you said that's not considered a divine nature, so because it's not a correlation.
No,
So
that's not what I said. That's why I'm not understanding. No, what I
so
said
then
was that
what was the
an
difference there?
animal is not a rational nature. It's not rational.
So then what is exactly, when you mean nature, what are the criteria? Just humans are the only thing that can be considered part of God's nature?
No, humans are the only creatures on Earth that are rational beings. Like animals are not rational. Rational means like you can critically think, you can have relationship, you can contemplate God, right? Animals don't have an understanding of, who God is or anything. So they're not rational beings. You can't put a math problem in front of them and they'll start to solve it. They have instincts and they have levels of intelligence depending on the animal, but they're not going to be rational. They're simply only operating on instinct, not rationality.
Mm.
Like for example, a human, right? You can have the urge, like you could be hungry, right? But if you're on a diet or if you're sick or something and you can't eat for a period of time because it's going to hurt you, your rational thought can resist your instinct of being hungry, right? Animals don't think that way. They just do off their instinct. That's it.
Back to your point about humans being rational compared to the pig. Okay, so then when I'm describing the nature of a human, a human isn't all powerful. A human has to urinate and defecate and stuff like that nature. To me, that's again another thing that I would not think something almighty and powerful would need to do. So that's why it also
Well,
seems
he would if
illogical.
he was to truly incarnate. Then yes, he would do the things that the nature does. But just because the nature of the human is not identical to the divine nature, which we know it's not, and there's properties of it that are contradictory, that doesn't that wouldn't be a contradiction for the person to incarnate as a human being. That wouldn't be a contradiction. Contradiction would be a same way in the same sense. So if I was to say God's divine nature became limited and started defecating and urinating, that would be a contradiction. It's like, wait, God's nature doesn't do that. Why all of a sudden is it doing that? And then doesn't do that, right? That would be a contradiction, but that's not what we're saying. We're saying that the human nature that he assumes, that he incarnates, referring to Jesus, that nature has a digestive system and needs to, do these things because that's how God designed humans.
And if you had to put one nature above the other, is the divine nature more superior to the human nature?
In what sense? Like as far as like,
Well, because I mean, you're
I
coming from
mean,
the point
I would
that
definitely,
God can
if
be
I,
divine and still human nature. He can both have divine nature and human nature.
mhm.
But I believe that only God can have divine nature because that's the most
We agree.
superior nature.
Yeah,
So to
and
be
that's, yeah,
able to
we
go
definitely agree.
down to a lower, to be able to go down to that lower nature at his own whim, desire, that to me is the same argument that we brought up before. Can God create a rock that's too heavy for him to lift?
No,
Like
it's
it's
not.
still
See here, let me
contradictory.
show you. So really, what you're not probably hashing it out, but let me just like kind of help you. And typically, when people have an issue with this, they have an issue with like saying like the human nature has properties that are contradictory to the divine nature, the divine nature's properties. So, for example, the human nature is can experience death. God's divine nature cannot experience death. Those are contradictory properties, right? Therefore, they cannot a person cannot have both natures. That's typically what the argument is. Is that what you're saying? So, is it more or less?
Honestly, it's really hard for me to understand, and I don't want to just make an assumption. Like,
What
can you
did you not
dumb
understand
it
what I said?
down? Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, dumb it down to be
Okay.
less
So
less
for
worse.
example, like a square has properties of a square, right? It has
Yeah,
four corners, whereas a circle doesn't have any corners, right? So you can't have a squared circle because those are two contradictory properties, right?
yeah.
Okay. So typically, what people say is because the human nature has contradictory properties to the divine nature,
Mm-hmm.
they cannot be within one. They cannot be united within one person. That's usually the argument. Is that more or less what you're saying?
So they can't code. I mean, I was saying that the title and the definition of being a god would not allow like to go down to that definition of being like if God, let's say if God is the square, God can never become a circle because it's not the same.
We agree.
It's completely different.
Christians agree with that, but we don't believe the divine nature transformed into a human nature. We believe the person assumed a human nature. That would be a second nature that are united within one person. So that's not a
Mhm.
contradiction. Contradictions would be in the same way, in the same sense, as you described, right? A squared circle is just one shape, but you're describing one shape with contradictory properties of two different shapes. That's a contradiction. But
So Jesus can
we're
be
not.
both divine and human at the same time and choose which nature benefits the situation. Is that kind of maybe what you're explaining to me?
What I'm explaining is it's possible for a person to have two natures that are not mixing, even though the natures are not identical. It is not going to change. It doesn't change the divine nature just because he took on a second nature. And there's no and whenever we attribute something with the human nature, doesn't automatically mean the divine nature is that way. There's no change in the divine nature. That's what I mean by that. So it's not a contradiction.
So if I'm trying to understand how can the two natures work with each other if they are in the same person? So if one of the natures of God, let's say when he's in heaven, he doesn't defecate, that's the divine nature. But then when he is in Jesus in human form on earth, he has both the divine nature and the human nature. How does one let the other take over? Like how can the divine nature not stop and empower the human nature, at least that one aspect of defecating, urinating, and not
Why would the
having,
divine nature stop that? The
well,
you understand that defecating and urinating, like you like for us, obviously, like that's like dirt. Like you don't want to get defecated on, right? That's dirty.
yeah,
But you
yeah.
understand that God created us to do that for a reason. So it's not inherently evil just because it's unsanitary. So I don't know why, if God designed us in order for us to do that, why would the divine nature stop the human nature from using the bathroom? I don't understand.
Well, no, only because they're like they're together. You're saying they're together in one person.
No, I don't. No. I don't. They're not mixing. So the divine nature, we don't believe that the divine nature enters creation. It's the person that enters the creation through its energies. But the divine nature is not possible to
So
enter
was
creation.
Jesus divine whenever he was on
Absolutely,
earth?
because the person that assumes the nature is divine. Yes.
But then that goes back to my other like as part as like defecating and urinating is one thing. What about not having knowledge? And I'm sure you've heard the argument about Jesus not knowing if the fig tree was in season and not knowing the hour, stuff like that. Those comments like not having knowledge while you share both aspects of the nature in one person. How can you basically how can you not have knowledge of something if you have the divine nature in you? If Jesus had the divine nature in him.
That's the issue. It's a misinterpretation of what's being spoken of there. When Jesus says that, and I'm going to address both of them, and you can respond.
Okay.
When Jesus addresses like not knowing the day or the hour, if you look at the Greek word is oiden. He's really talking about a revelation. It's not for him to reveal the hour, and he is making a stern stance on his disciples because he does not want his disciples to keep prying as to what day he is going to come back, because that's not good for humans to have an anticipation of that day. They need to focus on their relationship with God. So he's taking a firm stance, but what he is actually saying is it's not for him to reveal it. As far as the fig tree is concerned, he would have had to have known the fig tree in the example that he gave, because he was referring back to a prophecy in Jeremiah about the temple going down. They had just left the temple. They have rejected him as the Messiah, and the temple is going to go down within the next 30 years from that moment. And he's showing his disciples that this is a fulfillment of the Old Testament, where it says that when the fig tree, which is referring to the temple, does not produce good figs anymore, it is going to get destroyed. And when he uses the fig tree of not having it, he uses that as an example to show them what the prophecy that's about to come, which is the temple going down.
So this is the first time I've heard that argument for it. I mean, I've always listened to what the Christians respond with it, and most of the time, like they're explaining, it's more simple than talking about a temple going down. It's just simply he wasn't aware. He wasted his time walking all the way, and he got upset.
But that's
finding
not true.
that.
Like, here's the thing: if you're going to be honest, I'm not saying you're not. I'm sure you just heard the argument and you never did it yourself. But go read the passage. Read the passage before and after. He literally, if you read what happens before, they come back from the temple. This is after he flips the tables and he's upset with the people in the temple desecrating it. And then after the fig tree, he gives the explanation to the disciples.
But wasn't he did not know if the fig tree was in season? There's like something along those lines. If it was the season for the fruits to grow.
All it says is that he went for the fig tree and it wasn't producing the fruit. So the assumption,
something specifically he said like he does not know if it was in season.
I think the assumption is made when you read it that way. But like I said, in the explanation that he gives as to why he cursed the fig tree, because remember, he curses the fig tree afterwards and it withers, right? And they come back later and they see that it withers, and that's when he actually gives the explanation. He had to have known that fig tree wasn't going to have the figs in order for him to do the example he's trying to show his disciples, because he's using the fig tree as an example of a prophecy that's being fulfilled from Jeremiah.
Okay, I mean, I could see how, a Christian could rationalize it, but, when it comes to those kind of explanations, I don't personally think, in the Quran, they have any unreasonable, I don't know, again, being biased, unreasonable explanations, because
Yeah, it does.
to me, it sounds like a contradiction into the whole divine nature of Jesus.
Let me show you one. Let me show you one in the Quran. So, for example, if you and I were in the 7th century, we're going a time machine, right?
Okay.
And let's say this is during the time where the Quran is being revealed, right? It gets revealed in 23 years, so it's probably not fully revealed, or maybe, whatever.
Okay.
And let's say it's somewhat revealed, and I'm reading this Quran and I have doubts about it. Allah gives specific instructions on what to do in order for you to get confirmation of the things you have doubt about in the Quran. Now, my question to you is: do Muslims believe that in the 7th century, the gospel and the Torah were they corrupted by then?
Yeah, I believe the whole reason to have a prophet was because the gospel and Torah have
Okay.
been changed by humans.
That's going to be irrational. That's going to be illogical. Because
Yeah.
if you read chapter 10, verse 94, Allah says that if you have any doubts on the stories that are being revealed and talking about in the Quran, you are to go to the people who read the scriptures before you. What are the scriptures before the Quran?
Well, it would, I guess, would be whatever has been revealed if the story is similar. So I guess like using the Quran as the example. So like the story of Adam and Eve, if that was mentioned in the Quran, and if it's also mentioned in the Gospel and in the Torah, then that would be accurate. However, I know there's like some prophets that aren't mentioned in the Bible and in the Torah.
But here's the thing. Like, if I were like, let's use any of these stories as an example. If I have doubts about the Quran,
Yeah.
and I read a story about one of the stories in the Quran, and then I go to the previous scriptures, the Torah, the Injil, and I read one of the stories, and I see that it does have that story in there, but then I see that the story doesn't match the Quran.
Yeah, then I would basically the thing would be to use the Quran as the example.
No,
the
hold on, pause right there.
Yeah.
That would make sense for somebody who already believes in the Quran. But remember, Allah is talking to someone who is doubting. So why I wouldn't use the Quran because I'm doubting. Chapter 10, verse 94.
1094. Got a big old Quran here. 1094.
So you understand the last point that I made while you're pulling that up, right? That would make sense for somebody who already has good reasons to believe that the Quran is true. Then you would use the Quran as the criteria, right? But that's not the case here. The case is Allah is giving specific instruction to someone who doubts. So that means I don't know if the Quran is the criteria right now, but I want to go check.
If you, O Prophet, are in doubt about these stories that we have revealed to you, then ask those who read the scripture before you. The truth has certainly come to you from your Lord, so do not be one of those who doubt. And do not be one of those who deny God's signs, or you'll be one of the losers. So I would basically use the argument that if the story isn't matching up with the Quran, like some of it is true. I wouldn't say all of the Bible is completely corrupted. Like, you know, the similar commandments, like if I believe like anything that is contrary, like against God's original like rules, like, you know, worshiping one God, don't idol worship. Like if the Quran were to say something new, like, oh, you know, you can worship and make statues and all that stuff, then that would clearly go against the Torah and the Injil. So that is basically trying to explain
but track what I'm saying. I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. But track what I'm saying here, okay? If we're in the 7th century and having doubts about the Quran, well, the Quran says go check with the previous. Okay, that makes sense. It's like, okay, well, let me go outside of the Quran to get confirmation to make sure this is true. Then I go to the Torah and the Injil, which you say is corrupted, by the way, which wouldn't be far-fetched for me to see one of these stories and not match the Quran. The logical conclusion for somebody, and tell me if you agree or disagree, the logical conclusion, if the Quran tells me to go to these books to clear up my doubt, but then I go and I read these stories and they don't match the Quran, then I would look back at the Quran and say, that can't be true, because it just told me to go to something and that something does not confirm it.
So, I mean, I would use the rationale that if there's a person claiming to have scripture, like a new holy words from God, then that would mean that there's going to be already like established like there wouldn't be a need to have a new message from God, new word from God, if everything was already fine and dandy with the previous scripture. So I would use the logic, okay, if they're claiming that this book is from God and there's some similarities in the stories, then let me just go check to see if those similarities are there. And whatever I find a discrepancy in my scripture, then I would say, okay, well, maybe this is the part that is corrupted because it is not in the Quran, but it is in the Bible or the gospel.
But you understand that your reasoning in my scenario is illogical. It's a fallacy. It's called circular reasoning. Because notice what you said in the beginning. You said, well, if there is a new holy word, my assumption would be that it's needed because the previous word got corrupted. Basically, is what you said. But I'm
Yeah, that's
doubting.
the claim in the
But
Quran.
understand that premise right there. That premise says that you are automatically assuming that this is a holy word. I'm in this scenario. I'm doubting whether this is the holy word, and it gives me instructions and it says go check with the previous scriptures. And when I go check, I don't get the same thing. So
Sure,
therefore,
yeah, a
how is
person
that
can
going to
die.
clear? Basically, what's going on here is if it's true what you're saying that the Injil and the Torah are corrupted in the 7th century, then Allah is telling me to go to corrupted scriptures in order to get truth. How is that even possible? Why would Allah do something that illogical?
So you can still have doubt that something is from God, but the Quran is the one that's making the claim. So you can basically say, you know what, I don't really believe that the Prophet Muhammad is reciting words from God. However, he is making the claim that this is from God, and verbatim, he's telling you to go compare. And I don't really see what's wrong because, from if what I understand very little about Christian, isn't there like a verse that's saying something on Christianity, like if anything is different from the Old Testament, it's not from us, like be warned or something along those lines. Like Christians, they would use the
Yeah,
New Testament.
if there's a gospel, if there's somebody who preaches you a different gospel, then yeah,
Yeah,
it's
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 not from,
yeah,
yeah.
but
So
here's the
it's like
difference between
that's the
Christian.
same message.
But here's the difference between the Christians and the Muslims, dude. When we say you can get and the New Testament references the Old Testament like almost like in every chapter, pretty much. If you when we're referencing the Old Testament, we're not saying the Old Testament's corrupted. You can go get confirmation from the Old Testament, and we don't say that the rabbinic Jews who deny Christ today, which they have the Tanakh, which is our whole Old Testament. We don't say that any word in their book is corrupted. We don't say that. We believe every word that they have in their hands. We confirm it and we believe it confirms ours. You say the same thing, except you add a caveat to it. But those scriptures are corrupted. Yes, the previous scriptures confirm the Quran confirms the previous scriptures. But wait, you have to understand though something. The Torah and the Injil got corrupted. How does that make sense, dude? How can you say that the scriptures are corrupted, but then we can find truth, guidance, and light? Because chapter 5, verse 48, chapter 5, verse 46 in the Quran says that the Injil is a guidance and light to people. How can corrupted books be a guidance and light to people? In chapter 5, verse 47, the next verse, it says that the Injil is something that can be used to judge, to make good decisions. How can that be the case if that book is corrupted? And I think chapter 5, verse 66 says that the Christians have nothing to stand on unless they stand on the Injil, the Jews and the Christians, the Torah and the Injil. How can they stand on something that's not true, a corrupted scripture? This is illogical for the Quran. Why would Allah say these things if he knows they're corrupted?
So then, from a Christian perspective, why was the need for Jesus to come if it wasn't because the Jews were deviating from the path of God and doing things against his, desires? Like, what was the
He
whole
didn't
reason?
come to correct the old law. The old law was good. The old law and the law and the prophets predicted and actually said that there will be a new covenant to come. If you read Jeremiah chapter 31, verses 31 to 34, that's in the section of the prophets in the Tanakh. This was written centuries, at least 500 years prior to Jesus being born. And it actually predicts a new covenant to come. And it says it's going to be not like the last. And then when you read the rest of the Tanakh, it is the Messiah, like it says in Isaiah chapter 40, that will bring a new law, that he will be the one to bring the new covenant. And it says that the Messiah will die in the Old Testament, and he will be cut off, put to death in a death penalty. And this is what's necessary, according to Isaiah 53, in order for the new covenant to be rolled out and in order for the sins of the people to be forgiven. And then in Zechariah chapter 12, which is also in the prophets, it says that it will be God himself who will be pierced. And all of this was written centuries before. So the Jews were anticipating a Messiah who would be God incarnated, who will die for our sins. And when Jesus comes, he fulfills all of that. So he didn't come to correct the previous, he came to actually confirm it and actually fulfill it.
I also know that the Quran does confirm, it mentions that they confirm what is in the Torah and the gospel. So why can't you just look at it confirming the things that the Quran agrees with, but denying the things that is against the Quran in the Injil or the Torah? Like why can't you look at it in that manner?
Because that's called circular reasoning, bro. So for example, what if I say to you this, okay? Hey dude, the Bible is the word of God. Let me prove it to you. And you say, okay, go ahead, prove it to me. Look at the Quran, and anything the Quran agrees with the Bible is true, and anything it doesn't is corrupted. Would that be
Well, no, that's
would
not the only
that
reason.
actually convince? Would that
No, that
actually
was
logically mean that the Bible is true
yeah.
because I do that?
Okay, I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
So I
So
guess
that
I would add
doesn't
on
prove
that
it. Yeah.
that don't just take the word just because there's a verse in the Quran that says, "Oh, we're confirming what's in the old script." I'm saying, like, if someone were to be critical of the Quran, there are basically examples that the Quran makes the claims like, "Hey, if you don't think this is from God, it says first produce a chapter like it, then it says produce it like a paragraph, and then finally just one verse, which is like the shortest one in the Quran is like 5-6 words." So like it gives challenges, it gives certain statements. And like during the revelation of the Quran, there was like some stories that, like the story of the cave, where only the Jews specifically knew. So when they came to basically debate Muhammad, this is like considered revelation, where they kind of prove that, look, I am a messenger of God. Here's an example. I'll tell you the story, the one that was in the Torah about the men in the cave, and it made like 700 years pass, and it for them it was only like a couple days, and that's basically kind of to prove to the Jews, like, hey, this is a prophet of God. That's part, not just because the Quran says it's the word of God, but because of the proofs that are in the Quran that Muhammad spoke to the Christians and the Jews.
I don't understand what proofs exactly. Like, give me one proof that you're referring to right now.
So one of the challenges that the quote unquote God gave to the Christians and the Jews, especially very early, like in chapter 2, it says, if you are in doubt, actually, let me pull it up. It says specifically, if you are in doubt, present a verse. Yeah, here you go. Chapter 2, verse 23. And if you are in doubt about what we have revealed to our servant, then produce a chapter like it and call your helpers other than God, if what you say is true. But if you are unable to do so, and you will never be able to do so, it's kind of like, hinting like you ain't gonna fix this, or you're not gonna be able to produce a verse like that. Then fear the fire filled with people and stones, which is prepared to the display. That's like in the very beginning of the Quran, chapter 2.
Yeah. So
that's like
let me show you something. So here's the problem with that challenge. Okay, it doesn't give a criteria, an objective criteria to see if someone can meet or fail the challenge. So if I say produce something like it, that's not a criteria. You need to be more specific to give the criteria. So for example, let's say I write on a piece of paper like an essay, or let's say I write an essay on something. Doesn't matter what it's about, but I write it. And I say, hey, don't plagiarize it, don't copy it, but write something like it. I bet you can't.
I mean, I'm taking from the perspective that means similar in eloquence, like
but you understand, and that's what most Muslims say. Okay, fine, I'll grant you the eloquence, but eloquence is subjective. What you find to be eloquent, I can find to be repulsive, and vice versa, right?
Okay. So then I would refer to
you would
like
one more thing. Sorry. Then you would need to add a criteria as to what eloquence even means, and then at this point, we're getting so deep into trying to objectify like what is the criteria here, that it's now going even away from Allah's words. Like Allah doesn't even say it. He doesn't even give the criteria. Now we're just making assumptions. So then even if you bring me a criteria and say, well, okay, fine, it needs to be as eloquent as the Quran. Okay, I agree with you, that's subjective. But here's the criteria on how eloquent it needs to be, like in order for it to be as eloquent. Well, then you need to then justify why this criteria is true, why this is the criteria that Allah means, because we don't find it anywhere. Now you're just assuming for Allah. And then here's the other thing. Are you Sunni?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think anybody can make a verse like the Quran at all? Like even I know it says a chapter, but can he do it? Can someone
Yeah,
do a
no,
verse?
not even a verse. Yeah.
Okay. What if I show you somebody that did it? Then what?
I mean, I wouldn't be able to judge whether or not, because I really don't speak Arabic that well, so I wouldn't know what's eloquent or not.
Here, I'll prove
But
it
I
to you.
mean,
You
I've
wouldn't even
seen
need to.
people
You
make
wouldn't
it
even need
happen.
to know Arabic to know that he did it. Here, I'll show it to you. So, sorry, one second. So this is oops, sorry, I didn't mean to block it. This is Umar, right? That's narrating this. Okay,
Mhm.
and this is a Sunni hadith, right? It's Sahih. All right, it's from Sahih al
Okay.
Bukhari. Okay, you can look this up. It's on Sunnah.com. It says, "I agree with my Lord. May he be glorified, exalted in three matters, or my Lord agreed with me in three matters." Okay, so he's talking about Allah. Allah agreed with him. I said,
Mhm.
"O Messenger of Allah," obviously speaking to Muhammad, "why don't you take the Makan of Ibrahim as a place of prayer?" Then Allah revealed the verse, "And take you people the Makam place in of Abraham, or stone in which the Ibrahim stood while he was building the Kaaba, as a place of prayer." It actually became a verse, chapter 2, verse 125. And then he said, "Why don't you tell the mothers of the believers to observe hijab, for both righteous people and evildoers enter upon you?" The verse of the hijab was then remember, this is after he says it, then the verse of the hijab was revealed. "And I heard something about the mothers of the believers and talked to them and told them, etc." Then I came to one of the mothers of believers and she said, "Oh Omar, in the case of the messenger of Allah, cannot admonish his wives so that you can come and admonish them." So I stopped. Then Allah, may he be glorified and exalted, revealed the verse, "It may be if he divorced you all that his Lord give him instead you wives better than you Muslims." And that was chapter 66, verse 5. So
Are you making it sound like Uthman, like that Abu Bakr is the one
no,
that
Umar,
made that verse?
Umar, yes.
Or Umar?
Yeah.
Well,
He's the one that
to
made
me,
the.
it sounds like he's just narrating what the prophet was telling him, not that
No,
he's the one that got
he
revelation.
said it to the messenger of Allah. He made these suggestions, and he said, "I agreed with my Lord. May he be glorified in three matters. My Lord agreed with me in three matters." And then when you
Okay.
read the story, he gives a suggestion, and then after he gives the suggestion, it says, "Then," that's after he said this, then Allah revealed the verse. And that's why it says, "My Lord agreed with me." So Allah heard him, or Muhammad heard him, or whatever, and then the verse was revealed.
Okay, so what's inherently wrong with that? If he had like
There's
what's
nothing.
called a good idea, and then
That means he came up with verses that made the Quran.
well, someone can have like inclination to want to do, but like before, like let's say I'll give an example, like before the verse of giving charity and feeding the homeless came down, there can be a person that says, I think it'd be a good idea if we covered up our women and fed the homeless and gave charity to those in the need. And then next thing you know, a verse comes down in a more specifically eloquent manner, not exactly how he described it, but according to God, how he wants to, orally speak it. That would, I don't see technically what would be the wronging in that.
Yeah. So here, it says here, "You should stop bothering the messenger of Allah, or Allah will replace you with wives who are better than you and are Muslims." Okay, that's what he said to some of the wives. Here's the verse that was revealed. "It may be if he divorced you all that his Lord will give him instead of you wives better than you Muslims." That's chapter 66, verse 5. Is that like the Quran?
But this is his own personal opinion.
I understand, but are these words like the Quran?
Well, it's not just the word, light. It's like compare it in terms of, how it's written in Arabic. So I don't know
Brother.
exactly what the term
Even
in Arabic would
even
be.
if we were to read this in Arabic, is this like this verse? I mean, the answer is yes, bro. Come on. Like it's talking about exactly what he says.
I mean,
So the answer is yes. So then he created something like it. Now, the challenge says create something like it. Now remember what I said, the criteria is vague. It's not there is no criteria. It just says make something like it. So according to what Allah revealed, he met the challenge. Now you can say, well, there's other things though. Just because it's like it, it's got to be eloquent enough. It's got to be this. It's got to be that. And you can add whatever criteria you want. But whatever criteria you are going to add to this to make this more complicated, it's not something Allah says. It's not what Allah says. Allah just says make something like it. And he says, I guarantee you no one would do it. But Omar did. Unless you want to say he received wahi, that would make him a prophet. But you don't believe he's a prophet.
I see the point you're making, but I guess I'm taking it from the prejudice, like when
Yeah,
people
of
say
course.
produce a chapter like this, they don't mean like in the easiest form in terms of like, okay, like I could make up a verse in English right now that's like, oh, you who believe, give charity to those who wrong you and those who do good by you. Like, that sounds so prophetic. Like,
Yeah,
wow,
but
you're
we don't
giving
have a
charity.
challenge in our Bible saying that you can't
I
produce
know,
it.
but it's like to me, I wouldn't assume, logically that God is asking me like that would exactly be what he's referring to. Like he would want something that's in similar text and writing, I guess. That's again, I guess.
Yeah, but that's
Not
not.
necessarily.
But I'm saying, but dude, even like anybody who's gonna put on a brain, right, is gonna say, well, if you're gonna put a test out there, if I say, hey, bro, you need to pass my test, and then I don't give you the test, or I don't tell you what the test is, how are you gonna pass it? If I say, hey, I want you to write an essay like mine, you can't copy it. You just need to write an essay like mine. But I don't give you the criteria as to what that means, and then I get you to write it. I can disqualify everything you write for eternity because I can just give you an arbitrary reason as to why it's not like it. And I could just change my criteria as it goes and keep denying it and make it seem like you're not passing the test. But really what's going on is I'm just not giving you a proper criteria to even know how to pass the test. And this is what people do with scams, dude. Like this is how people like do magic tricks. They give you an illusion of something. But when you really think about it or you really understand what's happening, it's just an illusion. It's like going to the carnival and saying, hey, you can knock over these bottles. And if you do, you win a prize. And then you knock out 9 out of 10, but that one bottle you can't knock down is because the person got it glued. Oh, you didn't pass. Therefore, you don't get a prize. It's a trick. So when Allah says create something like it, no one will be ever do it. People, you're going to assume, oh, the eloquence of the Quran, because I understand Arabic and the Arabic's eloquent and blah, blah, blah. But you don't even stop to think logically because you already assume this is from God, that eloquence is subjective. Like some people read the Quran who are Arabic speakers and think it's awful. They think it's not even good Arabic. Then you have others that read it and believe it's beautiful Arabic, and that's the reason why they convert. Those are two contrary reasons for the same book.
I see the point you're making. But then what about all the other evidences that people like miracles that people get from like I'm sure you didn't see any miracle that Jesus did, but you believe that if he did these miracles, it's because there's some divinity in him. So putting aside, like, okay, I could see how maybe you wouldn't take the test of produce a similar verse or chapter like the Quran, but what about just the flat out right? Like when you see a miracle, that basically gets rid of the whole faith thing. Like you're seeing and you should believe when you see like a miracle happen.
Like, what are you saying that there's a miracle? Are you referring to the
Yeah, like
Quran
so
here? Like, there's a miracle
in
that
the Quran
confirms
it
that this is from God?
mentions that. Yeah, well, yeah. So a part of the other, there's many pagans and companions at the time, like they wanted to have certainty that he is a prophet of God. So there was a bunch of people. I'm sure you've heard about the splitting of the moon, and that was basically a sign that like I am actually a prophet of God. So now have faith in me and everything I say. That should be more than enough, like as like a proof. Than okay, yeah, it's vague. Produce a chapter like it, a verse like it, and it's subjective. Someone
There's
can
really
change that.
there's no historical evidence of this moon splitting, um, anywhere. You're gonna have attestations from Muslims or from Muslim sources, obviously, because you guys believe it happened. But there's really nowhere else that attests that. I'm surprised you went to that one because it's not the one
Well,
that
no, but
most
then
Muslims go to.
what would be the proof that, like, Jesus raised people from the dead?
Well, the proof, I don't have proof of that, but the proof that we would believe that would draw us to Christianity is the empty tomb. Because we know historically, even atheist historians would agree that he died on the cross, which, by the way, that fact in itself is one of the most attested historical facts in human history. Even atheists would agree that he died on the cross. And according to your Quran, your Quran says that didn't happen. That right in itself starts
No,
to
that's
cut.
not. I know specifically that
Okay.
verse talks about it was made to appear. So I wouldn't doubt that people saw a person get crucified, but
No,
God.
but I understand.
Yeah.
I understand that, and we can go down that if you like. But anyways, going back to it, just so I don't divert. They do agree that he died on the cross. He was put in a tomb, and it was empty after 3 days. Now, how do you explain the empty tomb? That's the critical part. That's where even atheist historians will say we're gonna chalk it up to mystery. We don't know how that happened, because robbing the body is not logical. Hallucinations of all of them seeing him resurrected is not logical, because the other thing they agree with is that the disciples had a genuine belief to see him bodily resurrected. The most logical explanation of it all, if you believe in God, and obviously this only means if you believe in God first, is that he actually did raise from the dead. And if he did raise from the dead, then that means all the previous prophecies are true of the Messiah. And if you go to those previous prophecies, it actually lays out that the Messiah would be God's son and incarnated. So therefore, we would believe it. And there's no other explanation that fits the empty tomb historically other than his resurrection, logically at least.
But if you yourself, let's say you went back in time and then you saw the Prophet Muhammad split the moon, you were amongst those would you believe him, or would you still be skeptical?
Not right away. Obviously, if I would experience that, obviously this would be a good reason to suggest that maybe he's from God. But why couldn't Satan do miracles? I mean, even the Dajjal is given abilities to do miracles in your belief to deceive people into thinking that he's God, right?
Yeah, but you also have to consider, even though God makes it very quote unquote easy for Satan to deceive, you should also know that the true believers, he'll have, the sign written right on his forehead, kafir. And anyone who's a true, so just as easy as
let's
it
not
would
divert.
be.
I'm not trying to go into the story of the Dajjal. I'm
I'm
just
just giving you an example. Yeah, why can't Satan
But
deceive
what I'm
people?
saying is, even in your own belief, Satan has the ability to do miracles to deceive people, right? So that's not a far fetched. So my suggestion is, why couldn't Satan do something to deceive people, right? So my suggestion is, why is that not a possibility? Why is that being ruled out as a possibility?
Hey, God bless.
Oh, what's up, Rob?
also-
Sorry, Rob. I don't know if you were requesting up, but
No, it's okay, brother. God bless
yeah,
you.
God bless you, bro.
Yeah,
Ahmed,
as far as
you understand what I'm
yes.
saying? As far as like the possibility of it?
It's completely rational to assume that Satan can deceive people and trick people to also believe them. But I would also take in consideration, the message. It would be one thing if, they do a miracle. Okay, I'm going to raise someone from the dead, and I'm going to tell everyone it's okay to steal, it's okay to commit incest, it's okay to, do all these things that are very in nature immorally, wrong. But
Well,
that
would
seems
defeat
more unreasonable to assume that it would be a trick of Satan, and also the very thing that the prophet is preaching is like seeking refuge in God from Satan.
No, but think about it. Think about it, bro. If Satan wants to deceive you into thinking that he himself is God, he's not going to tell you things that would make you innately feel immoral. Even an atheist would understand that unaliving somebody unjustly is immoral, right? So there's an instinct within us to know certain things are immoral. So if Satan is telling you constantly to do those things, then he won't accomplish his deception into making you think he's God. So of course he would tell you to do good things, but why would Satan care if you're doing good things if you're worshiping him instead of the true creator?
So what would be Satan's motive making the Muslims do all these things? Because a Muslim, I know you would assume that a Muslim is worshiping Satan, but when we say we worship God, it's whoever that entity is, the most supreme entity, that's who we worship, and we wouldn't say verbally like, oh, we're worshiping a false god.
Ahmed, the thing is, Allah calls himself, the irony, before chapter 355, the ayah before it, in chapter 354 of the Quran, Surah Ali Imran, ayah 54, he calls himself the best of deceivers.
Let me say verse 3.
وَمَكَرُوا, yeah, in context, Allah is talking about the Jews. وَمَكَرُوا, the Jews deceived. وَمَكَرَ اللَّهُ, and Allah deceived. And Allah, خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ, and Allah is the best of deceivers.
And the disbelievers made a plan against Jesus, but God
False
also planned,
translation.
and God is
False
the best of
translation.
planners. Huh?
False translation.
This
The,
one,
the word for plan in the Arabic language is khutta. So the correct Arabic should have been mukhattatin. Allah didn't say khairul mukhattatin, the best of planners. Allah said khairul makirin, the best of deceivers. So Allah himself calls himself, clearly one of the names of Allah is the best of deceivers, the deceiver, with the alif lam, with the definite article.
chapter 3, verse 4.
So you do worship Satan, my friend.
I mean, if you're telling me to interpret as deceiver and not planner.
No, not interpret the Arabic, the word makr. Even you have also a hadith where Abu Bakr, the father of Aisha, says, even with one foot in Jannah, I still feel the makr, I still fear the makr of Allah. I still fear the deception of Allah. This is Abu Bakr talking. And if you go to the tafsir, even in Tafsir Ibn Kathir for the chapter 354, he explains that Allah deceived. Do you want me to show you?
Here, let me turn on my camera real quick because I have like both. I got two Qurans here. So in
Brother,
this,
I'm a native Arabic speaker, as you noticed.
but I mean, like, why would? So in this verse it says planned,
False translation.
and then this one is also a different translation. It's the Noble Quran.
It's false translation.
Yeah,
it
brother, you
says-
understand that the what he's saying is that the English is changing the word to, it's being interpretive. It's trying to interpret for you what the Arabic word means, but the Arabic word means deceiver, not planner.
Bear the image. Give me the screen so I can show him Ibn Kathir. How Ibn Kathir, Ibn Kathir is one of the biggest or one of the renowned scholars for the tafsir of the Quran. Look, my friend. Here is Ibn Kathir. Do you see it? This is the ayah 352 to 54. Tafsir Ibn Kathir. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Watch this. If you scroll all the way down to the tafsir, all the way down, what does it say here? Allah deceived these people. So your Allah, brother, your God is a deceiver. Uh-oh. Do you see what the true meaning of makir, makaru, makirin, khairul makirin, the best of deceivers? Because Allah is shaitan, my friend. Allah is playing some. Let me finish, my friend. Let me finish. Allah plays good cop, bad cop with Muhammad. Sometimes he acts like as if he's a good God. Sometimes he is a deceiver. And that's what Satan would do because Satan is a deceiver.
What's the sentence say? They captured that man, humiliated. What is it referring to?
Of course, to Jesus. Then Allah deceived the Jews, thinking that that they crucified Jesus, but he put someone, an innocent. Hold on, you asked a question. So instead, Allah takes an innocent man, making him look like Isa on the cross. In the meantime, deceiving not only the Christians and the Jews, but also creating the number one biggest religion on the planet, which is Christianity, because Christianity would be in vain if Jesus did not die on the cross and resurrect on the third day. Boom. So you should blame Allah for the number one religion on this planet in 2025, because Allah deceived, but at the same time, while he's deceiving, he created Christianity. So thank Allah for his deception, my friend.
What's inherently wrong with making the enemy think that they accomplished their goal, and also at the same time it kind of basically, anyone can have evil thoughts and intentions, but you got to let them act out on that for them to be punished for that action. So
that's not the right question, Ahmed, that's not the right question. You know why that's not the right question? The right question should be, actually, how can God do evil? Because remember, deception is an evil thing. So how can your God
I don't
do
think
an evil act.
deception is evil if it's inherently to stop evil from, if
So Allah uses evil. So what you're saying, Allah uses evil to trick and deceive evil people? Is that what you're telling us?
you're using the word evil, if you use the word,
Is deception an evil or a good thing?
so I'm going based
Be
off.
honest, brother. I'm asking you a question. Is doing deception, is the act of deception, is that a good thing or a very evil thing?
I would think it would depend on the context because someone can say is taking another life evil, but what if it's in
Do you
preserving?
hear it, guys? He said that deception can be a good thing. You heard it, right, guys?
In
It's
terms of
recorded.
context, yeah. What's wrong with having the
Thank you.
context?
Thank you for admitting that you worship a deceiving God. Thank you very much.
And real
And
quick,
according to your logic,
I could
not sure
interpret
in
it.
which logic you're using, but deception
it's
is a
very
good thing.
reasonable to assume
Only in
that.
Islam, deception is a good thing.
let me and real quick, brother Rob, if
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, if you don't mind me jumping in. And Ahmed, remember, I don't want to, because Rob is bringing up good points here, and Rob obviously he's a native Arabic speaker. He's very passionate about this topic. If you ever watch this stuff, but one thing, like, you got to understand how we got here, right? Let's backtrack to how we got here. Remember, you were saying, why would Allah tell you to do these good things and everything? And I said, well, it's to accomplish the deception that He is not God. And you said, well, how can that be possible? And the reason why Rob is bringing this up is because even in the Quran, he admits that he is a deceiver. And regardless of whether you think it's for good or not, that's going to be subjective. The fact is, there's an admission in the Quran that Allah is the greatest of all deceivers, which then would fit my narrative as to, like, this is a deception more than you saying this can't be a deception. Right?
You're telling me to trust his interpretation, but I have 2 Qurans that say
No, not my
No,
interpretation, my
brother,
friend.
his
Not my
interpretation.
This is Ibn Kathir.
Yeah, Ibn
yeah.
Kathir. Listen,
Ibn Kathir.
Ahmed, one second. Ahmed, you got to understand. I think that went over your head. The English translations, if you go to any one of those Qurans in the beginning, it will tell you that the English translation is not the Quran. It is the Arabic that is the official Quran, not the translation.
Exactly.
So even any one of those translations that you open up, and I have 3 Qurans with me, it all says the same thing. The Arabic is the actual Quran. Now,
Bear the image. If you open any translation, bear the image. Any translation, it says this is not Quran.
That's what I'm
so
saying.
What you're using,
if you go to the front page, it will give you that warning ahead of time. This is the Islamic belief that the Arabic is the original. Now, if we see that the Arabic word is deceiver and the English translation says planner, you're going to go with the Arabic more than with the English, because the English translators are interpreting these things for you. But who can interpret better, the English translators or Ibn Kathir? And he went to Ibn Kathir, and it says, referring to this, that this means deceiver, because he actually says that he deceived them. So Ibn Kathir would support his claim of the actual translation of the Arabic, and the English translation is trying to water it down or soften up the language in order for you not to get shubahat, basically, is what it boils down to.
Exactly.
So I could see the argument if one of the attributes of God was he is a deceiver, like a trickster. That would obviously be wrong in Islam, but the action of making the enemy think that they won, I don't inherently see.
But Ahmed, that's not the only issue. You forgot about a couple of things. Allah calls himself not only Khairul Makirin, the best of deceivers. Allah calls himself Al-Mudil, the misguider. There's another name for Allah, Al-Mutakabbir, the arrogant one. There's another one called Al-Fattan, the one who causes fitna. What is fitna? Corruption in the land. So Allah has many evil names, many evil, and the Asma wa Sifat. Allah is a misguider. He misguides whoever He wills. Allah is a deceiver. Allah is a Fattan, the mischief maker. Allah is all kind of evil things. Not only a deceiver, So Allah makes it clear who He is. But you Muslims call Him God. So, brother, don't worship Satan. Come back home to the real good God, Jesus Christ, because God is good. Not like Allah.
Amen.
I can show you the list. Let me show you the list, my friend. If you think we're lying to you, you can look them up. Look who Allah is. Okay? Names of Allah. Let me show you.
Yeah,
You can
that's the
find
thing.
the
Like,
names.
I have never heard. I've definitely heard of the 99 names of, but when you started saying that one of His names is El Fitra, like a corrupter.
Al-Fattan. Look, give me a screen, and I hope people will take a screenshot. These names I got from the Quran, okay? And I have the ayahs to back them up. So, and I did a video about this, and glory to Christ, it got at least 1.5 million views with Brother Al-Fadi from Syria International.
The Quran that way, because I'm not
No,
going to
hold on, brother.
be objective.
Hold on, brother.
We're
Hold on.
gonna give you the verses.
He's going to give you the
verses.
verse.
Yeah, we're going to give you the
Just show it to
verses to back it up. Look here. Al-Makr, we went through that one, chapter 354. Al-Fattan, the one who creates mischief, this corruption in the land. Al-Fattan. Al-Mutakabbir, we mentioned that one, the arrogant. How Allah is the arrogant. And you have Ad-Dar, the distresser, the misguider. Al-Muzil, humiliator, misleader. So, my friend, this is your God. This is your Allah. And we can back all of these names from the Quran, by the way. All of them.
Can you just tell me the verse? That way I can do my own research and look at it right now.
Sure.
I have 3 Qurans with me, and it's not like I have one Quran. I have 3 from 3 different people, from 3 different translations. Some is an easy translation, some is like Old English, and some is like strict Arabic translation.
But brother, what I suggest you is, if you want to become a real true Muslim, not like this one here, not like you need to learn Arabic first, then become a Muslim and recite your Shahada.
I'm letting you give the benefit.
Because without
of the doubt,
knowing
I just
Arabic,
want to see a verse. Just let me,
hold on, brother.
Look it up.
Because what you have in your hands at your house, the Quran that they gave you, is not a Quran. It's not a Quran. It's a false translation of the actual Quran. Because even the Muslims will tell you, you can't translate the Arabic Quran. You have to always go back to the Arabic. And I have the Arabic here.
Yes, I know Muslims say that, but usually they're referring to like the beauty of the language. But you can there's some words you can translate directly to English. Not
There's
all
nothing.
words.
There's nothing called beauty in the Quran, because I can show you grammar mistakes in the Arabic. I can show you spelling mistakes. So there's nothing beauty about the Arabic in the Quran. Actually, it's if you know Arabic like I do, and you know basic grammar like I do, because I'm a native Arabic speaker. I'm from the Middle East. You will see that Allah doesn't know sometimes how to write the word woman off correctly. Sometimes he writes it with a smiley face, with the ta, smiley face. Then he writes it with a ta marbuta, with a HT. So Allah doesn't know how to even write basic
I can't
words.
debate you on whether or not Arabic grammar is correct or not, but I just still want to see like the verse if those words translate to what you say. Like that's the one thing I would like, because I feel like that's easy to spot out in the Quran. You don't need to be an expert to see if that's.
Wait a minute, but wait. How would you know though if?
Because I have
like,
an English
for instance,
translation.
Hold on, Ahmed. If I go to Al-Ma'ani, which is a matter of fact, like I can put it on the screen. Bear, can you give me a big screen just really quick?
Mm-hmm.
Let's give me a big screen really quick. I'm gonna show you.
I don't know why you guys are very hesitant to give me the verse. It seems like you want me to look at it from.
We gave you the verse.
I can give you. I can give you.
You gave me the list of names of God.
Hold on, Ahmed, just give me a second. We gave you chapter 3, verse 54. Now, this is the word Makkah. Notice what it says here: cheat, deceive, delude, double cross, dupe, and it goes on and on and on and on. Like as a verb, it just means to deceive somebody. Okay, fine, no problem. Here's the problem. If you hold on, just listen to me for a second, please. If you don't speak the language, how would you know if we're lying? How do you know that the translators you're listening to are telling the truth?
Because the thing is, I'm given, just like the way you want me to give you guys the benefit of the doubt, I'm also looking at it. What are the odds that 3 different translators got it all wrong? But the
Hold on a
guy,
second. Wait, hold on. Here's the presupposition, right? And I want you to think about this, okay? I'm saying this out of respect for you. If it is true what we're saying, that Allah is al-Makr, the deceiver, wouldn't it make sense that the people that follow him are also deceivers?
I wouldn't say the scholars of anything, there would be no scholars.
Listen to my critique one more time. If it is true, it's a hypothetical, bro. Just walk with me for a second. If it is true that he is actually the best of deceivers, wouldn't it make sense that the people that follow him are deceivers as well?
Sure, I'll give you that.
Okay, so when you're translating this, wouldn't it, like for instance, this guy in the chat, Brazilian, notice what he says. It doesn't say, it says makara. He doesn't realize that that just means it's in the past tense. It's the same thing. He deceived. That's all it means as a verb. Fusha, like, bro, this is not complicated, but do you see what we're saying?
Well, okay,
If
yeah.
it is
Well,
true,
And one
if
more,
if it
I
is
want to add one
that
thing
that
too,
would even
because
that would make
I just
even.
want to throw one thing in. Ahmed, just real quick. You understand that the names of Allah are derived through the things that are being said in the Quran, through the Hadiths, etc. That's how these 99 names come. There's not like a list of 99 names that are listed
No, but
in the Quran.
from the verses in the Quran, the
Correct, and they're
attributes
showing you
like
verses as
merciful.
far they're showing
They,
you
bro, they haven't
verses.
showed me one verse. They showed me
Hold on,
deceiver,
brother.
but I said it shows planner.
I understand,
But that's
but
a false translation. Are you okay, bro?
Okay, well, understand. If you want me to take your translation, but I have 3 other Qurans that all say planner.
Okay. So thank you for throwing Ibn Kathir under the bus, who is a classical scholar who explains that the meaning of makr is deceiver, and we showed you the tafsir. Who are you?
I just said I
compared
don't
to-
think it's wrong
And we
for
can
God
show you
to
also,
deceive
hold on,
someone,
we can show you classical dictionaries
especially if
too.
it's the enemy.
Hello? Are you
Yes.
listening? We can also show you classical dictionaries for the meaning of makr or makr.
Okay, but why haven't you still showed me the verse where it says makr? I just want to see that one verse.
354. Let me show you.
Is that deceiver? Wait, was that the one about
Yes.
deceiver? Okay, what was the
Yes,
other
let me
one?
show you. Let me
That
show
was
you.
that
Give
was
me the
one we already
screen.
went over. What's the other one?
You talk too much, brother. You need to.
I've been quiet, but you guys have been repeating the same.
Yeah.
I've been asking for the verse.
Chapter 3, chapter 3, 54. Let's read together.
Okay.
And you are not an Arabic speaker. I am.
Okay, no, yeah, that was the one we already discussed. Allah is the best
354.
of planners.
Yeah. 354. False translation. You keep using a false translation. I don't know why. وَمَكَرُوا وَمَكَرَ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ 354. And they deceived, and Allah deceived, and Allah is the best of deceivers. Boom.
Okay, what's the other names, attributes of Allah? The other one that you mentioned? I just want- we already went over it.
الفتان المتكبر المضل الضار.
Just the verse, man.
Unbelievable.
Because the verse, we already went over deceiver. I wanted the other 5 names that you gave.
Okay. Watch my video that received 2 million views with Brother Al Fadi from Syria International. You get it.
This, I have the Quran.
You know,
right in front
the
of me.
thing is
Honestly,
that
it
you
makes
don't
it
know
look like you
anything
guys
about.
aren't being
Hold
genuine.
on.
That's what's
No,
disappointing.
the problem is you don't know anything about Islam, and you converted. Clearly, you're a convert, right? You converted to
No, I
this
was
religion.
born.
That you know,
I was born Muslim.
you're born Muslim. But why don't you know these basic things about your Allah? Don't you know that your Allah is the one who deceives? Don't you know that your Allah guides and misguides whoever He wills? Allah literally calls Himself the
Yes, He
misguider.
guides who He will. He guides who He will.
He can. So even if you're, according to Allah in the Quran, even if you are the best Muslim, you perform your 5 daily prayers, you pay zakat, you do all of these Islamic rituals, which are nothing but pagan rituals, by the way, that your forefathers did. But even the best Muslim, Allah can deceive and make you go out of the fold of Islam, because Allah is the misguider, Al-Mudil. That's one of the names of Allah, Al-Mudil. Did you catch that?
Yes, I was listening to what you're saying. But
Okay. So why would you worship a God knowing that this God can trick you whenever he wants, even if you're the best Muslim? Why would you worship such a God knowing that he can do that, all of that? Even the best Muslims are not safe.
I gave the explanation. I don't see inherently what's wrong with tricking the enemy. I truly don't know.
So there's nothing wrong with a God who can misguide people.
If they are enemies of God, I don't understand why that's a problem.
Okay, what about Muslims? Can Allah misguide Muslims? Yes or no?
I mean, if they're a bad Muslim or a hypocrite, like I don't see what's wrong with Allah doing what He desires.
So even did you hear it, guys? Even the best Muslim can be misguided by Allah.
I never said the best Muslim. I literally said hypocrite, like bad Muslims, like who try and trick
That's
God.
not what the ayah says. That's not what the ayah says.
You asked me, no, my own personal
Chapter
opinion.
14. Read
You
for
asked my
me
own
chapter
personal
14. Hold
opinion.
on. Read
Hang on,
chapter 14.
I'm in the bathroom right now. I gotta
Hold
mute
on.
my mic. 1 second.
Hold on. Read chapter 14, ayah 4 for me, please.
I'm on the toilet right now. I'm gonna mute my mic, so just go
Yeah.
ahead. I'm listening.
Okay. Let me read chapter 14, ayah 4. Chapter 14, Surah Ibrahim, ayah 4. And we have sent no messenger except with in the tongue of his people, that he might make all clear to them. Then Allah leads astray whomever he wills, and he guides whomever he wills. And he, Allah, is the mighty, the all-wise. So Allah literally says he can misguide whoever he likes. So if Allah wants to deceive even Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam, he could. If Allah wants to deceive Caliph Umar, he could. So Allah just said, Allah leads astray, which means Allah misguides whomsoever he wills. فَيَضِلُّ اللَّهُ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. And Allah misguides whoever he wills. So you literally, as a Muslim, you are a toy in the hands of Allah, the puppeteer. He can do whatever he likes with you. He can misguide you, even if you're the best Muslim.
Yeah. And here's the other thing, Ahmed. I know you're on the toilet, and hopefully you're listening. Look, at the end of the day, if he deceived in 354, the deception would be leading to Jesus being lifted up, right? And not getting unalived on the cross. If he is capable of doing something like that, and knowing, since Allah is assumingly all-knowing, if he knew that this action would create the largest religion in the world, which is what Rob brought up earlier, why would he then knew that this action would mislead millions of people who were supposedly Muslims into believing that Jesus is God? He would have known that.
Yeah.
So the fact that he did that
regarding
just doesn't make sense.
Al-Fattan, you saw my list, right, brother Bear the Image?
Yeah.
You saw the list that I put on the screen. For regarding fitna, causing mischief in the land, that makes Allah a mischief maker, a corruption maker. It's in chapter 25, ayah 20. Let's read with me.
Okay.
وَجَعَلْنَا بَعْضَكُمْ لِبَعْضٍ فِتْنَةً. And we made of you a corruption for others. So Allah is causing the corruption between people. What do you call someone who causes corruption, brother Bear the Image?
A mischiever.
So Allah is the mischief maker, the corruption maker between people. On top of that, if you open the Quran more and you continue reading, it's Allah who sends devils on the people. What kind of God has an army of devils who sends them on mankind?
Yeah, and he misguides.
And he misguides, and he's a deceiver, and he's a mischief maker, and he is the misguider. I mean, how can this be not Satan in disguise? He claims to be God because, Satan is the God of this world.
Yeah. And look, just to be somewhat charitable, because Ahmed actually, I deal with a lot of Muslims that are absolutely ridiculous to deal with. He's not ridiculous. He's actually being open-minded and conceding when things make sense. To his point, okay, fine. If Allah is just countering what the enemy is doing in order to flip the plan onto them, that's okay, fine. We could be charitable and say maybe that's fine, but that's not everything that's going on in the Quran. Like, there still needs to be an explanation as to how Christians became basically idol worshippers off of this act of Allah, and why he would do that. Right? Why would he also send devils to misguide non-believers? And then once you go into Islamic predestination and you find out that everything that we were, like, basically where our destination is, whether it's paradise or hell, is going to be based on what was written for us before we were even born, when we were in our father's loins, then it starts to turn into like, well, this is not. How can any of this be just?
Brother Bear the Image, can you give me the big screen for a second so I can guide the people to all of these names?
Yep.
Like I said, Brother Al-Fadi, you maybe know him from Sira International, this guy here, the ex-Saudi Muslim from Saudi Arabia. He invited me in his beautiful studio, as you see. He invited me there, and we did at least 12 videos together. Look, here are the list of videos that we did together. All of them with me. Look, this video that we did, and we proved that Allah is Satan. We went through the list literally together. And glory to Christ, almost 2 million views. Do you see? 3 years ago. So we went through the list. Look, and I'm presenting on the screen the list again in the video. And we're sitting there together in a studio, and we went through all the names, and we showed all the names in the Quran. Look, together with the brother here. So go watch the video. The video title is Allah is Satan, Rob Christian, Episode 1 by Sira International, Brother Al-Fadi, Sira International. So if you're interested to collect all the info, guys.
Yeah, definitely watch that video. Ahmed, I would watch that video so you can understand that you were asking for the information of Al-Fatan, and obviously it's not as simple as just pointing to a verse. He's going to break it down in that video as to where that comes from. And the 99 names of Allah are not all just explicitly listed in a verse or anything.
Yeah, and brother, bear the image. If there are Arabic speakers, they can confirm. If Allah would have not called himself the mischief maker, Al-Fatan, causing fitna, he would have used the word, rather, the Arabic word tajriba, which means literally the word for trial. No, Allah did not use the word trial. Allah used the word fitna. And any Arabic speaker knows, even non-Arabic speakers knows, fitna is a very evil thing. That's literally corruption. You're causing fitna, and Allah is causing fitna.
All right, guys, I appreciate the conversation.
No problem. Thank
Gotta
you.
go right now. So
Thank you for the conversation.
take
I hope
care.
you learned a thing or two. And brother, please consider, we're not your enemy. We just want to warn you. I, as an Arabic speaker, I want to warn you that you truly worship Satan. He claims to be God in the Quran, but he is not God, because he's playing good cop sometimes, and he's playing bad cop. And from his fruits, from his wording in the Quran, you can literally see that it's Satan, because God cannot be a mischief maker, my friend. God cannot be the arrogant one, al-mutakabbir. This is problematic.
Why would Satan tell us every time we pray, say, "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim"? I seek refuge.
Because he's a
That seems
trickster,
like
because he's a
it's
deceiver.
The other thing is too.
Like I said,
the other
good
thing
cop, bad cop.
Well, I want to
That's
respond to that too. So Satan, the word Satan, shaitan, which comes from hasatan in Hebrew, all it means is the adversary. So
Yep.
who would be Satan's adversary? It would be God, right? So that can be reference to whoever Satan's adversary is. Even in your belief, his name is Iblis. So Satan is not a proper name. It's just a label of somebody who goes against you, right? So to curse Satan, to say I'm cursing my adversaries, right? Well, if the creator is your adversary, you could be cursing your creator. So indirectly, you could be cursing the creator when you say something like that.
Well, no, we're saying I seek refuge from Satan.
Or okay,
by
I
God.
seek refuge from my adversary, the creator. Imagine, right?
Yeah.
Like that would actually logically still apply. Even like, but if you're looking at Satan as like that only means like the demon with red, the red demon with horns, right? Then okay, I can see what you mean, but that's not what that word means. That word just means adversary. That's all it means. Somebody who poses against you.
What about all the other like very minor like ways of life that I guess there aren't mentioned in Like there's a lot of rules in Islam that there aren't in Christianity. Like men have to.
Ahmed, do you know anything about abrogation? Do you know anything about abrogation?
Doesn't that mean like something removed? Like
Allah changing what he said with a better ayah. So what you need to know is, brother, for example, when Muhammad was in Mecca, he didn't have many followers. He had no army, so he was forced to be used to be friendly, to use peace, to call people to Islam in a peaceful way. But when your prophet went to Medina, he guarded himself an army of thieves and caravan robbers. Things changed, and he became very violent. And then we see just chapter 9, ayah 5 of the Quran, Surah At-Tawbah, ayah 5, abrogated more than 120 peaceful Meccan period ayahs. So all of these peaceful ayahs, for example, in the Quran are all abrogated. For you, your religion, for me, mine, abrogated by chapter 9, ayah 5. Chapter 109, ayah 6, abrogated. Chapter 2, 256, there is no compulsion in religion, abrogated. Ask yourself why.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff you're receiving today. Definitely fact check all this stuff, right? I know brother Rob is way more knowledgeable than me when it comes to the stuff in the Quran. I do want to answer one of the things in your question. The reason why, that like, if Satan is going to pose himself as God, as being a good God, he is going to tell you to do things that are going to make you feel like are inherently good. That doesn't mean that just because he's telling you to do good things, like give to charity, give to the poor, don't commit zina and all that stuff. That doesn't mean that it can't come from Satan in order for him to deceive you. It's like the guy with the white van that's trying to trick a kid into his van. Oh, your parents, told me to come pick you up. I have candy in here. Oh, come help me rescue a dog. And then gets the little kid in the van and boom, they're done. You know what I mean? Like, this is just because they're saying good things doesn't necessarily mean that this is coming from a good source. This is part of deception.
Yeah.
All right. So I appreciate the conversation.
All right, brother.
I'll see. Reach out to y'all later. All right.
All right,
And
man.
Brother Ahmed, watch the video that I showed on the screen. Watch it. And you can fact check me if you think I'm lying.
Okay. All right, man.
All right, man. Good conversation. Thanks for coming, bro. Man, Rob, you got the Muslims upset.
They are going crazy in the chat.
There's somebody on YouTube that's trying to come up. I want to test and see if you can talk to him from here. Hold on a second. Let me see.
I imagine if they love me, bro. That would be
He's got a Kaaba
better
as a
for
profile
shop,
pic,
man,
so
if they love me.
I'm sure he loves you. Fazal, what's up? What's up? 1 second, Fazal. I want to test the audio here. Rob, can you say something? And Fazal, tell me if you hear it.
Yes, hello, test.
Did you hear
Yeah, I
that?
can, yes.
Okay, perfect. And you can hear him, right, Rob?
Yep.
Okay, good. All right, Fazal, what's up?
Yeah, so what's the topic we have?
Well, how long were you in here? Were you listening to the last conversation or no?
No.
Okay, so you're a Muslim. I'm agreeing you disagree. I'm assuming you disagree with Christianity.
Bear the image, brother Bear. There's an echo, a terrible echo of people. That's what the people on YouTube are saying.
Okay, got it. 1 second. Sorry, guys. Hey, Fazal, I'm gonna have to get you back. There's something I gotta fix the sound in order for that to happen. So, all right, we can bring up another guest on TikTok. Yeah, I gotta fix that, guys. So sorry about that, Fazal, but I'm not gonna torture you.
I think brother Amin wanted to add something.
Oh yeah, go ahead. I mean, so sorry, bro.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a little busy here at work. That's why I was in and out. The verse that he was looking for Al-Fatan is in chapter 25, verse 20. I don't know if you guys gave it to him. I was in and out.
Did.
Yeah.
He did.
We did. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Allah is the one causing fitna among people. Al-Fattan. This is why I gave Allah. It's not in the 99 names, but I gave Allah that name because literally Allah is saying He's the one causing fitna among people. So it should be added to the names of Allah.
Isn't there a hadith that calls him Al-Fatan? Somebody calls him that, I believe.
I don't know. Is the Quran not enough?
No, I'm just trying in case he's listening, he can go fact check it. Yeah, the Quran should be enough for sure.
Yeah.
All right, watch this guy, guys. This is going to be the fruits of, like, we had a good conversation with a Muslim. Okay, we didn't insult, we didn't do anything, right? He was listening and everything, but when the truth gets exposed, the demons start to come out. Okay, so I want you guys to see what I mean by that. Okay, so here. What's up, man?
What's up?
What's up?
How you doing?
Good. What's your question, bro?
I was listening earlier, and you're the other. I don't know which one of you was talking about a deceiving God, and that a deceiving God is a bad God. Even
According, you're Muslim, right?
yeah, I'm Muslim.
Yeah,
and,
according
first of
according
all,
to the Quran, Allah is the best of all deceivers.
no,
you
it
agree?
doesn't say deceiver. It's a mucker. Mucker has two meanings. God plans. Even if God
I
is,
got
is
two
a
Arabic
deceiving
speakers
God,
on stage.
okay.
I got two Arabic
Is
speakers.
a deceiving God a bad God, a false God?
Why? But why? Wait. Why did
No,
Ibn
wait.
Kathir? Hold on. Why did
Watch
Ibn
this, everyone.
Kathir?
Watch this, everyone.
Why
Is
did
a
Ibn
deceiving
Kathir
God
say?
a bad God?
Hold
Watch
on.
him
Yeah,
run.
see,
Come on.
Watch him
Hold
run.
on. Hold on.
guys, you see
You
what
have,
I mean
Watch
about the
him
you have a
run.
demons?
delay. You have a bad connection. You
No,
forgot
Yeah.
to say inshallah. You have very terrible connection. Why did Ibn Kathir
God deceived 9 times in
explain
the
that it
Bible.
means deception? Khid'a, deception. Allah is
Your
deceiving.
God
Why?
deceived the Assyrian. Yeah, your God
So
deceived the
Ibn
Assyrian
Kathir was
army.
wrong.
Did your God deceive
Timberland,
in the Bible?
You,
Watch
you
this.
see
Ibn
the
Kathir
deflection, guys.
wrong?
Yes.
What about Islam?
Did
You know,
God?
I know my
Did your
Allah is a
God deceive?
deceiver, but what about yours?
Did your God send a,
That's it.
a
That's
dwelling
what we
Hey,
call
spirit?
you
a
guys see what I mean
fallacy.
about demons? You see what I mean about the
Yeah.
demons? They start to
Yeah, your God
manifest.
sent an evil.
That's a
Timberland,
fallacy, dude. That's the what
Timberland,
about
Timberland.
yours
Listen
fallacy.
closely,
I
bro.
want you to relax.
Listen, I want you to relax and listen closely, because you can say whatever you want about that word having two meanings. However, one of your scholars, Ibn Kathir, one of the biggest scholars, interpreted that Arabic word to be deceiver, not what you're trying to claim it is. So do we take your word or Ibn Kathir's word? You can respond to
Okay.
that.
Okay. Let me say. I will grant you God deceive. Can God deceive? If a God deceive evil people, is that a good deception or a bad deception?
He also deceived good people.
Is that a good or bad? Can you answer,
Were the
please?
followers of Jesus good or bad people?
Well, look, he's not answering because he
Were
knows.
the followers of
He
Jesus
knows I'm gonna
good
cook him
or
in his
bad people?
Bible
Timberland,
because your God
Timberland,
sent
that's you're actually trying to focus on the point that, oh, well, he deceived bad people, therefore it's good.
Yeah, did your
Were the
God?
followers of Jesus deceived as well? Yes or no?
Yes. Did your God
Yes.
deceive?
Listen, you
Oh
said
wow!
yes.
So
So there you go.
God
Like
he
deceive
that's,
confirmed it. Did you hear it,
he
guys?
said
He
yes.
confirmed
Your God
that his
deceived
God
9
is a
times in the Bible.
deceiver. Thank
Why
you.
Yeah, I mean, he deceived the followers of Jesus, the followers of Jesus who are
Why was he
supposedly
acting like this,
Muslim,
bro?
because I'm telling you, this is the manifestation of this stuff. Like these people
Yeah.
sort of come up
Why
with something.
why don't you tell me that why don't you agree that your God deceived 9 times in the Bible and he sent a dwelling spirit? He sent an evil spirit so people would see things
This is called a burden shift and a deflection. Okay, we're asking. You said that deceiver means two meanings, implying that verse means something different. You're
deceive a whole army.
I'm gonna recap everything so we can get back on track. But you are, but one of your scholars says that it actually means deceiving. Then you granted
Right,
it.
okay,
Then you granted it to us and said, well, if he's deceiving evil people.
Yes, can you got yes.
But in that same scenario, the Muslims that were following Isa alayhi salam were deceived as well. Are you saying those are evil people?
Bro, did your God? Well, actually, the guy laughing there because he's cooked. Because
Yeah. See you later.
We are getting cooked. Yeah, exactly.
He just keeps deflecting, and that guy is just an absolute. That's all he does. He's manifest.
I mean, Muslims are geniuses, bro. Let us be honest. Now, I gave you Ibn Kathir. Let me give you Al-Qurtubi, brother. Let me give you Al-Qurtubi as well. So I have not one scholar, but two scholars to back up that Allah is actually the deceiver. So Muslims can't say, Rob, you're lying or whatever. They can fact check us. Look, this is the ayah, Tafsir Al-Qurtubi, Tafsir الجامع لأحكام القرآن لإمام القرطبي, and he died in the year 671 after Hijrah. Okay, which chapter? Of course, the same chapter, Surah Ali Imran, chapter 3, ayah 54. Tafsir. Look, وَمَكَرُوا وَمَكَرَ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ, chapter 354, explanation. وَأَصْلَ الْمَكَرْ فِي اللُّغَةِ الْاحْتِيَالِ. So if we copy this, if I copy it and I put it in Google, watch this, Bear. Same, copy, paste. What does it mean? What does the Arabic mean here? The root of the word makr, you see it? Mm-hmm. The root of the word makr in the Arabic language, fil lugha, in the Arabic language, is what? Fraud and deception. Oof. So what does makr mean? Is it a good thing? It's a good thing, brother. Brother.
So good.
It's a very good thing. It's not evil, brother. So being a scammer, a fraud like Muhammad, and a deceiver is a good thing, brother. I rest my case. So how many tafsirs do I need to show you from the Quran, for the Quran, from the classical scholars like Imam Al-Qurtubi and Kathir, to, for you to get it? I mean, I know you Muslims are slow, but I mean, come on. Yeah. You're not that special.
At Tabari talks about this too. He says that basically he's saying that when Yahud tried to do this, that Allah basically did it better. And he's explicitly says that it's like deception, but it's in Arabic, but it's the same thing, uses the same word.
And notice the Muslims, like this guy on the panel. Of course, because Muslims want to justify the fact, they're agreeing now with us because they have no taqiyya left, because we are immune for taqiyya, right? We have the receipts in the chat. Of course, they're going to apply the Tokokwe fallacy, What aboutism? What about yours? So they know that Allah is the deceiver. Now they want to misquote the Bible, and they will say, but your God is a deceiver too. We know we worship Satan, but what about your God, Christians?
Yeah.
This is amazing, man.
Yeah, it is a two-quoque fallacy. It doesn't prove all you're doing is admitting it's a problem, but then trying to put it onto us.
Yep.
So it's an actual indirect concession to the argument.
Man, it's tough to be a Muslim in 2025 when you have all the receipts, Brother Bear.
Yeah, no, it is tough. The internet's making it tough. You guys are making it tough. It's hard. I don't understand how people can still not see
Bear,
certain things.
we know we worship Satan as Muslims, but what about your God?
That means your God's Satan too?
Yeah.
It's like, bro, what the hell?
That's crazy.
It is insane. But gentlemen, thank you for coming up. I do gotta end this. I gotta get to work. Everybody, hit everyone a follow first and foremost. Hit my fiance, my love, peace, apologetics a follow. I did a terrible job day 2, and I got to do this better tomorrow of promoting and letting you know to follow her. We need to get her to 10,000 followers on TikTok. She is going to be going live today as well. And don't forget to sub to the YouTube as well. Her link is always in my video description. And then, of course, follow Rob Christian on TikTok and YouTube. His YouTube videos are very educational. If you guys want to learn, he probably has like thousands of arguments on his YouTube channel, breaking these things down, giving sources and so forth. So it's educational on how to argue these things. So if you guys want to learn more about these arguments, he has way more than me. I'm like a 2-trick pony. I bring 2 tricks and that's what I do. He's got like 1,000 up his sleeve. And then same thing with Amin Apologetics on YouTube. Hit him a follow as well. Not only does he do debates, but we got audiobooks and so forth that he is doing that you guys can hear from the church fathers. If you guys are like me, that's not really a reader, but you can listen to audios better. He definitely breaks down church fathers and does audiobooks on that. So definitely give him a follow on YouTube as well and TikTok. Guys, God bless you. Thank you guys for coming up. Let me read a couple of the super chats.
But Brother Bear,
yes.
Before you do that, brother,
Yeah.
sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, no worries.
I was listening earlier before I came up on the panel. Again, thank you for having us, brother. God bless you. God bless your ministry. Also regarding the death and crucifixion of Christ, I literally did 2 videos. A video 2 days ago about that on YouTube.
Nice.
2 days ago on YouTube. Actually, the early Muslims, the Sahaba and their students and the students of the students, they all actually believe that Jesus died in Islam. So what happens is, brother, much later, Muslims started to corrupt the Islamic standard narrative. They corrupted it. The early Muslims did not believe that Jesus did not die. They actually believed that he died. And I showed multiple books and we quoted multiple classical scholars who actually believed that Jesus died. But much later, they started even to corrupt it. And by the way, nowhere in the Quran does it say that Jesus did not die. Actually, all what is the Quran is saying that Allah caused Isa, the Islamic Jesus, to die, not the Jews. So what the Quran does, for example, in chapter 4, Surah An-Nisa, is only trying to say that the Jews did not do it, I did it.
Yep.
So actually, it doesn't deny his death at all.
Yep. Mutawafika, right? In chapter 3.
Yes, Mutawafika, Tawafaitani, chapter 5, 117, where Isa himself admits that Allah caused him to die in the past. فَلَمَّا تَوَفَّيْتَنِي, chapter 5, 117, chapter 3, 55. And if you go to the tafsirs, even Imam Malik believed that Jesus died as a 33-year-old person. Even Imam Malik, the founding father of the Maliki Sunni school in Sunni Islam, he believed that Jesus died as a person of 33 years old. So why then the Muslims corrupted the early belief? That is a question for another time, brother.
Yeah, definitely. That's a big question. Like, what would be the
Yeah.
motive behind that? And yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely checked out that video, guys, because yes, I've heard this arguments before with Mutawafika from Arabic speakers. I'm not an Arabic speaker, but it makes a lot of sense. And it does make sense why they would believe it. But that does raise the question: what would be the motive behind it? Well, if they're lying, that right off the bat would mean it's not going to be something good, right? If they're changing things around, it's not good, especially if that's the early belief of the Muslims, and they claim that this has been preserved, and it's the same ever since the day of Muhammad, which is not true. So, did you want to say something else, Rob?
No, thank you for having us, brother. Awesome, awesome stream.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you. I appreciate you coming up. Seriously, there's things
God
that,
bless you, brother,
that you
man.
and Amin can bring that I cannot bring, and I really
We're a team,
appreciate you
brother.
guys.
We all are here to serve. And please, guys, pray for our shortcomings. Pray for all the warriors. Pray for our shortcomings. We need your prayers. Pray for our safety. And if the Lord wants us to continue doing this for many years, then so be it. But please pray for our safety. Pray. Always keep us in your prayers. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Let me read a couple of the super chats. I know some of you guys get upset when I don't read it in time. I do the best I can, guys. Remember, I'm making videos out of these streams. So doing interruptions of reading super chats and stuff like that can alter the experience of the video, even though maybe I can cut it out, but it'll interrupt the flow of the conversation. But Dirty Dirt, thank you so much for the daily jizya, the super chat. Bear is just as human as Captain T. Man, that was a wild line of argumentation. Does he understand the difference between nature and person? Absolutely not. I don't even know if he can define what a nature is, referring to Captain Tazariak, who I just recently debated. He can't define nature. He doesn't know what a person is. Absolutely not. I don't think he's really interested in it. Those people that are in those cults, they're more interested in their feelings of uplifting themselves in their race and lifting up their race because they probably had a bad experience through race or whatever, and their self-esteem is so low, they need to be a part of something like this in order to feel like they're being lifted. So it's sad. It's unfortunate. It's one of the symptoms of the racism that we have here in America, or that we had, obviously with slavery and everything moving forward. We still have it, but yeah, it's sad. But anyways, yeah, no, there's no way he even wants to even understand those things. So Ancient of Days, thank you so much for the $2 jizya. You didn't put anything in the comments, so if you're still here and you want to put something in the comments, I'll read it after. You don't need to do another super chat, but thank you so much. And then Jimmy, once again, thank you again for your super chat. Good morning, brother. Listening to that debate, I did not know I can be more human than someone else. LOL. Love your ministry, man. Be blessed. Yeah, everybody's getting a kick out of that line for sure. Definitely watch the whole debate, guys. I mean, he said that was a moment, that was a bad moment for him. But there's other things in there that that if you pay attention to the arguments that I'm bringing, he fumbles. He does not do a good job responding, and all he does is deflect. If he believes Jesus is not the Most High and he's a regular human, that means he cannot transgress the law. He admits that, but blatantly in Matthew chapter 8 verse 3, he actually transgresses the law. And of course, for us, we believe that he is the Most High, therefore he grounds the law, he transcends the law. But if he is just a regular human from his paradigm, if he's not the Most High as he claims, then he cannot be the Messiah either. And he doesn't do a good job deflecting that. Also with Zechariah chapter 2, verses 8 and 9, he makes a special pleading of the speaker's change, but it's clearly the Most High sending the Most High. If authority, as he was trying to argue with as far as being more human, if authority means something that of your nature, then he would then need to deny that that the Most High is even the Most High, because the Most High is being sent by the Most High, according to Zechariah 2. So anyways, guys, thank you guys for the daily jizya once again. Another great record-breaking month for September. August was a record-breaking month on YouTube, and September passed it. So thank you guys so much for all your support on YouTube. Obviously, all my TikTok people, thank you guys for your support. You guys are the originals, right? I wouldn't even be on YouTube if it wasn't for you guys on TikTok. So thank you guys for your support on your streams and everything that's going on. Thank you, YouTube, for the growth and for you guys participating. And those of you that are both on TikTok and YouTube, obviously, thank you. We got some content coming up. Peace and I were talking about some content that we're going to make very, very soon. I do got to fix some of the sound things. I hope you guys are enjoying that. You guys can hear the TikTok guests better due to the equipment that I have, but I got to alter some things in order to make certain things better. But once we do that, it's gonna be great. But Amin, thanks for coming up, brother. God bless you and what you do.
God bless, bro.
Yeah, and my love, thank you so much for your support. Always cheering me on, even when you're sleepy on the panel. Thank you so much for your support. All right, guys, I got to go. Make sure you hit P, say follow. She is going to be going live on TikTok. Thank you guys so much. Hit her a sub on YouTube as well. Her content is coming very, very soon, guys. I've been saying that for a long time, but we know for sure it's coming very, very soon. So make sure you hit her a follow as well. God bless everybody. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, now and forever into the ages of ages. Amen.